big shout out to you for making it through the hectic holiday season. This new year, get clean, quality, pregnancy nutrient support off your to-do list, including Ritual's best-selling Essential Prenatal Multivitamin, designed with 12 traceable key ingredients to support a healthy pregnancy. With big changes coming up, take the small steps now and start today with 30% off a 3-month supply at ritual.com/podcast. These statements have not been evaluated by the Food and Drug Administration. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease.
I have come here to chew bubble gum and kick ass, and I'm all out of bubble.
It's Thursday night. It's August 30th, the year of our Lord, 2018. And you're listening to the Bloviating Zeppelin, and this is the Bloviating Zeppelin's Berserk Bobcat Saloon radio show, live and direct right here on the SHR Media Network. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, welcome to the Bloviating Zeppelin's Berserk Bobcat Saloon radio show. Belly up to the bar. We've kept your seat. There's a bunch of them right over there, and it's great to see you back. Blaine is going to be your bartender tonight. He pours with the best of them, and of course, the lava lamp is lighted, and it's been lighted for the past 24 hours to my left, to your right, meaning that if you want to watch the show, you can watch it on Facebook Live, on the SHR Media Facebook Live. You can watch it on YouTube, on the SHR Media YouTube channel. You can watch it on Periscope, on the SHR Media Periscope page. I think it's called SHR Media Periscope, or excuse me, SHR Media Group on Periscope. So if you want to enter it into your favorite search engine, you can find it that way. And also, if you want to listen, just listen. I have it on good authority. 2 ways to listen. One is go quick like a bunny to shrmedia.com. And that's also where we have a chat page. You can, welcome to Mike in chat. You can also, we are on, I am so proud to tell you this, we are on iTunes. Can you believe it? If you have iTunes, and I'm not an Apple guy, but it's nice to be able to say that we're on iTunes. But if you're an Apple person, you can find us now and plug into your iPod or your iPad or your iPid or your iPods and listen to us if you're an Apple aficionado. Mike in chat says, "What up, BZ?" Okay, here's the deal. For tonight, Sean is going to be... Oh, Mary. Welcome to Mary, Traveling Cynic. Good to see you there. We're going to have, in hour one, we're going to have Jeff Dunetz on the show. And Jeff has been here before, and Jeff is a great guy. We're going to have Jeff introduce himself, because I'm going to make him work. And then in the second hour, have we got a ton of buttery political goodness just for you. Well, everybody's shaking hands and playing nicely in the chat room, at least on the shrmedia.com side. I forgot to tell you this, though. I forgot to tell you that we don't water our drinks just like we don't water our conversations, politics, religion, crime, culture, economics, race, sex, science, law. We talk about it all right here at the saloon. Nothing is sacred. The speech is free, but the booze is not. All that we ask is that you flush the toilet, jiggle the handle, apparently what someone failed to do last Tuesday, if people remember. And don't forget to tip your waitress. Now, when I tell you that we talk about race, sex, science, religion, politics, Sackhead Sean was on the show last night with me, not Sackhead's Clint. It was Sackhead Sean who came on, and we talked about some things that maybe people think we shouldn't have talked about. And I don't know, maybe I got a little bit too deep into the weeds with regard to the things that have transpired recently with the Catholic Church and with the Pope. And it affected me personally, and that's one of the things that I said. I kind of went out on about I guess you could call it maybe something of a 10-minute oration about the Catholic Church. And maybe in retrospect, perhaps I should have done this. I should have, oh, hey, look, who's calling in? Let's see who's calling in. Does this happen to be Jeff?
Is this the number I'm calling?
This is the party. Let me connect you to the party that you think you're calling, where the party of the first part can contact the party of the second part only under the party line. Speaking of party line, are you sufficiently old, Jeff Dunetz? By the way, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, I have the distinct pleasure of speaking for the entire first hour to the lovely, butimous, sagacious, and ubiquitous Jeff Dunetz of lidblog.com. And here's the funny...
But I'm also dressed.
By the way, you're not doing what people do like on NBC, CBS, and ABC, where you're a news anchor and you've got a shirt and a collar and a tie and a nice coat, and underneath the desk you're either naked or you're wearing your skivvies or your jammies. You're not doing that to us tonight, are you?
No, I'm fully dressed.
Okay, all right, thank you. Because remember, your mother's watching too.
My mother's watching from above. She's always watching.
Okay, point well made. I was going to introduce you, and you've been on here before. First, let me mind my manners. And my manners are, thank you for being on here, because I always talk to somebody from the East Coast whenever they're from the East Coast, and I always have to remember my manners and say, Jeff, thank you very much for calling up late at night. You might not believe it, but we have two clocks, two big professional clocks in the studio. One is right over there, and that is Pacific time, which is where I am. And then I got another clock, which is right over here towards the ceiling, which is on Eastern time. And it says 23:07 in military time. That's 11:07. So it's late for you. And the point being, I want to thank you for staying up so late and being here on the show. That's my point.
Yeah, but you got to
Thank you.
understand something.
Okay.
This is fun.
Well, I
This
think
is fun.
I think it's fun.
So it's worth staying up late.
Okay. Well, thank you for that. I appreciate that. That said, though, this has kind of been the BZ Jeff Dunetz week, and I have to explain.
That's true.
Jeff was kind enough to have me on his show yesterday. It was morning for me. It was 2 p.m. in the afternoon for him, and
That's right.
If you're a maintenance supervisor for a commercial property, you've had to deal with everything from leaky faucets to flickering light bulbs. But nothing's worse than that ancient boiler that's lived in the building since the day it was built, 50 years ago. It's enough to make anyone lose their cool. That's where Grainger comes in. With industrial-grade products and dependable fast delivery, Grainger can help with any challenge, from worn-out components to everyday necessities. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Spent the complete hour yesterday on the Jeff Dunetz show. So Jeff Dunetz yesterday hosted me. And I said, hey, Jeff, do you have time? Maybe you can come on my show. To which he replied, okay, if you come on my show. And
No, actually, I was about to text you and see if you could come on.
And I beat you to it?
And you beat me to it.
Okay. All right. Well, whenever Jeff and I talk, we have a hell of a lot of fun. But again, I must mind my manners, and that's this. For people, maybe all half of you, who don't know who Jeff Dunetz is, Jeff, can you tell people where you can be found and read on social media and also your blog?
Lidblog.com, which is my website where I post 3 to 4 times a day. I am at Yid with Lid on Twitter. And I don't know what my address really is on Facebook. But if you look up Jeff Dunetz, it'll pop up.
Funny thing is, I have to caution everybody, because if you haven't done it, I've done it for you, Jeff. I looked up on Facebook just to see, because I thought, okay, Jeff Dunetz, there's on Facebook, yeah, I know there's millions of people on Facebook, but how many people are going to be called specifically Jeff Dunetz, Dunetz, and not Jeff not Jeffrey or Jeffralingus or Jeffalicious or something like that, but just Jeff
I have
Dunetz.
3 sites.
Well, I found out you're not the only dude named Jeff Dunetz on Facebook, too.
Well, I have a cousin who is like this hotsy-totsy high level lawyer.
Really?
Oh yeah, his name is Jeff Dunetz. I have another cousin whose name is I know there are at least 3 of us. But the neat part about the cousin that's the lawyer, I set him up because we went to the same Boy Scout camp at the same time.
Okay.
And I got in trouble, and they called his father.
Hello, mother. Hello, father. This is me from Camp Granada. Only you and I would remember that song.
That's true.
Okay, Brain Tickler. Who was that sang that song? Alan Sherman. Alan Sherman. Yep, bingo. This is me from.
You know what his other song? Some of his other songs were?
If you give me another hour, I might be able to come up with the other one. That's
HORWITZ spells Horowitz.
Really?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay, well, first things first, we got your social media and your website out of the way. And again, for the half a person who's in here who has never listened to you before and they don't know anything about you, maybe you could give like a 60-second overview of what you've done. Because I one time, I fried my brain. Smoke came out of my ossicles when I tried to recall all of the things that you've done in your life, all the people that have employed you. I mean, big-time people. All the places that you've written for, all the massive... By the way, Jeff has his own radio show, obviously, as I alluded to, and talk about big-time peeps who have been on his show. There's been a buttload of them. So can you give kind of an overview of some of the jobs that you've held? And I'm trying to... Okay, Jeff, hang on just one second. I'm trying to impress the crap out of people here, and I want you to name names, drop big names of people that have been on your show, because you've got you've got a ton of them.
I started out as a child, and it was a hard childhood because my mother breastfed me through falsies.
Oh, that was difficult.
Yes. I've written for, I wrote a lot for Breitbart when Andrew was alive. I've written for, who have I written for? I've written for Hot Air when people have been on vacation. American Thinker. I killed 2 David Horowitz sites, Newsreel and Truth Revolt. I wrote for Iran Truth before the Iran. I've written a lot of places. Right now, I write for my site. I have a weekly column in the a Long Island Jewish paper called the Jewish Star.
Okay.
And all across the what used to be Liberty Alliance, all across those sites, we tend to share with each other.
Okay, and you've had a ton of people on your show. Just off the top of my head, because somebody reminded me in chat. Okay, Traveling Cynic reminded me in chat. Thanks, TC. I needed the help. Trust me. For example, Ed Morrissey. Didn't you have Ed Morrissey on
yes,
like 2 weeks ago or something like that?
Chuck's never been on my show, though. Traveling Cynic. I've had Ed Morrissey. I've had, who have I had? I've had Kurt Schlichter. I've had a lot of people. I've had you on.
Do you see what I did there, though, Jeff? Nudge, nudge, wink, wink. Did you see what I did there with that Kurt Schlichter? Hey, don't you have a special guest coming up here in a little bit on your show?
In a week and a half, I have Brigitte Gabriel.
Ooh.
And then the week after, I have Kurt Schlichter, both of them to talk about their new book. I've had Dick Morris on.
Okay, there you go. There you go. Now you're slamming them. Now you're hitting them out of the ballpark. Kaboom!
You know something?
What's
I have
that?
to tell you something.
Okay.
God's honest truth. I mean, and I've had other well-known people, but my favorite ones are when I have the people like you, who I just really like, and I don't have to play the game like I read your book, because I actually do read their books, and I enjoy just talking to people like you, to talk to people like Ken McClinton I've had on a couple of times. Ed is one of my close friends.
I think that's way cool. That is way cool.
And a couple of times when I've had people on, like, let's see, I've had Jesus was on, but he's been busy lately.
Yeah, very busy. I'm certain of that.
But other than that, I mean, like I said, the fun ones are the people like you, because you're buddies. You know what I'm saying?
I do. Ed Morrissey, I'd like to chat just a second about Ed Morrissey, and maybe you can correct me. Ed Morrissey is from hotair.com, and that's a big deal.
Yes.
That's a big media deal, because Ed Morrissey, before he was Hot Air, wasn't he Captain's Quarters?
Yes.
Okay. And
But more than that, out of all the people that I've met doing this writing thing,
mm-hmm.
he is the most decent human being out of everyone I've met. And I mean, not only is he bright, not only is he a great writer, but he's just so decent. And actually, so is his wife.
Is he an East Coast guy, too? Is he anywhere near you in New York?
No, Minnesota.
Oh, Minnesota cold. Okay, gotcha.
As a matter of fact, all week he's been broadcasting from the Minnesota State Fair.
Ah, now that's a great gig if you can get it. Anyway, Ed Morrissey.
They fried his microphone because they fry everything at the Minnesota State Fair.
I would love to have heard that show post-frying, so to speak. Anyway, talking to Jeff Dunetz of lidblog.com, and Jeff, just for you, I brought this new thing on board for the people that are on TV, that are watching, and there's your promo.
Cool.
I've written down your name, and there's the name for people that are watching, and I wrote down the name of your blog. So Jeff Dunetz is at lidblog.com, so that you can see where to go to find him and read his stuff. Anyway, we were on yesterday, and we chatted about a ton of stuff, but there was even more stuff to talk about, plus another breaking story which comes out of New York. And if I could, I'd kind of like to start with that. And I don't even know if you're aware of this. You probably are, because you know darn near everything.
You mean like the price to buy Cuomo?
Here's one from Capital and Maine, which is a website I have never heard of before. But it says Cuomo received $25,000 from Weinstein's lawyer's firm as he suspended the probe.
Yep.
And the subheader is, New York Governor Andrew Cuomo halted an investigation into the Manhattan DA's handling of the Harvey Weinstein case, just as the law firm representing the Hollywood producer, wait for it, gave Cuomo's campaign $25,000. Now, if I had a producer, what you would have heard is, just as he gave him $25,000. But I don't have a producer, so that's not what you heard. Anyway, the story goes like this. Last year, a political firestorm erupted when journalists revealed that Hollywood producer Harvey Weinstein, the guy that basically started the Me Too movement, his lawyer, David Bowles, B-O-L-E-S, gave $10,000 to Manhattan District Attorney Cyrus Vance Jr. in the months after Vance declined to prosecute the movie producer on sexual assault charges. Folks, can you say, pay to play, and I knew you could. One hand washes the back of the other. Now, less than a year later, New York Governor Andrew Cuomo has halted an investigation. And it just gets better. It just gets better. Less than a year later, New York Governor Andrew Cuomo has halted an investigation into the handling of the Weinstein case, just as Bowles' law firm gave Cuomo's campaign, amazingly, how does this happen? $25,000, according to state records reviewed by Capital and Maine and Sludge. Whoever the hell Sludge is.
Well, let me give that story a bit more credence.
Thank you. That's why you're on the show tonight. I knew you could do that.
Their source was, and it's an old source, but is the International Business Times.
Oh, okay. All right.
Which is a better source than Sludge.
Okay. I didn't find it there. I just had to go with what came across my brain
what
as
I
a group.
did was I clicked on some of the links.
No.
Right,
Hey, no, I said this once before. Clink works because what that means, that's a contraction for clicking on a link. You clinked.
Well, for those of you who really think that, and I call him the God Cuomo because, he's the godfather of New York, and he makes you an offer that if you refuse, he'll kill you. But anyway, this guy, he appointed a commission to look for funny stuff going on in the New York State government. You got to understand something. New York State government is almost as corrupt as the Illinois government.
Wow, that's a statement. That is a statement.
And they started investigating the governor's office. So he canceled the commission.
Oh, of course. Perfect. Because we don't want to get too close, Hey, you might actually find shit out. We can't have that now, can we?
No, we can't.
Jesus. Every day. You can't write this stuff.
Well, no, actually I do, but it makes it easier.
Okay, you can write this stuff. I can't write. Well, I can write some of this stuff.
Yeah, you can write that stuff too.
Yeah, I can, yeah. But see, you already know, being in New York, and you're a resident, you already know about all this stuff about Andrew Cuomo. Andrew Cuomo, for example, trying to drive the NRA into the ground.
Yes.
With lawsuits.
Well, it's not even lawsuits. He pressured the bankers not to deal with them.
That's right.
And he pressured the insurance companies not to deal with them.
That's right. Correct me, but isn't that starting to turn around and begin to bite him on the gluteal, though?
Not yet.
Aren't they? I thought I'd heard something about a lawsuit having been instigated on behalf of the NRA.
Yes, but nothing's... I mean, it's been started, but, it's lawsuits, they take a long time.
Yeah, that's true. And isn't the lovely Cuomo, isn't he the guy that said, America's not great?
Yes, he did. He said America was never great. What can I tell you? He's from New York.
Yeah, he is from New York. And your Cuomo... Your Cuomo is about to be kind of like our coming Newsom. California Governor Jerry Brown is, he's kind of on his last legs in terms of mental fecundity. I'm being very kind here because the CHP deigns to let him out only on good days. And if you think
is that really true?
And if you think I'm kidding, moving right along, the guy that's going to replace him, Gavin Newsom, comes from a long line of very liberal individuals, and as you schooled me yesterday, was once married to Kimberly Guilfoyle. Can you imagine what discussions must have been in that household? Kimberly Guilfoyle is clearly a hottie, and Gavin Newsom, as far as women are concerned, he's a tall, good-looking drink of leftist fill-in-the-blank. But the dinner conversations and the party conversations between the two of them, I just really can't feature those very well. That just kind of is rather amazing. But Gavin Newsom,
they were the JFK and Jackie.
Oh, that's right. That's how you said yesterday. You said, "Yep."
Yeah.
They're the JFK and the Jackie of it all.
That's what you people used to call them.
And she is. I mean, she was on Fox. She was on the 5 for quite some time, and now she's left, I believe, to work on the Trump campaign.
I left to work on Donald Jr. I mean, to work on the Trump campaign.
That's right. I forgot. She's going out now with Donald Jr.
Right.
And he's fairly recently divorced, is he not?
Well, I know he's been separated for a long time. I mean, it's not like he's cheating.
Okay.
But he's got separated because he was cheating.
Oh, well.
But not with her.
No, she's new. She's new.
Right.
Let's get into some politics, if we can, right off the bat. And I was thinking about this on the way over to the studio, because this place is an actual studio. I've said it numerous times, and it's not the basement of, somebody's house. It's an actual studio. We're behind a house. We're separate from a house, but I mean, we got our own bathroom and kitchen and a bunch of rooms and stuff like that.
Well, at least you got that. I do my show out of a locker.
Okay, that's right. And at which terminal, Jeff?
Long Island Railroad.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Folks, you're going to hear all about that very shortly. I checked my email today to see if that came in, and it had not yet. I am so disappointed. I'm so depressed.
Well, don't be depressed. There's important things to be depressed about.
Yeah, that might not be one of them. But in terms of politics, I was thinking on the way over to the studio here tonight, I was wondering to myself, and I said, Self? And I said, yeah, what? And I said, hey, Self, what do you think about Jeff Sessions? And I said, isn't that interesting? You know what? I don't think he's going to be around much longer. I really don't. So do you have any weighty thoughts about Jeff Sessions and what might be in his future, limited as it may or may not be?
Well, you know what Trump said today?
No, about Sessions?
He said he's not gonna fire him before Election Day.
Okay, before November. Okay, well, that's okay. All right, that's perfectly in keeping with the newest thing that I heard is that after the midterms, his connection to the Department of Justice might be a bit tenuous.
Well, let's just say that his boss, he doesn't get along with his boss a lot, or his boss doesn't get along with him.
Yeah.
But you know what I would be thinking about tomorrow, and I don't know anything.
Okay.
But if Mueller is going to deliver a report before Election Day, it's got to be tomorrow.
Okay, now why tomorrow?
Because after tomorrow, he said that everyone. The rule is that once Labor Day hits, you can't come out with any reports that involve politicians.
Oh, because it will be deemed too influential?
Yes.
Okay, that's interesting. I'm familiar with the concept, but I hadn't thought about that as applied to today, though. Because
today is the last day of work before Labor Day.
Yep, great point. You make an excellent... See, Jeff? Folks, I'm talking to Jeff Dunetz of lidblog.com. And see, Jeff, that's why I have you on the show. Because you with your artiste-like insight pointed out the obvious that I should have been aware of, but by God, that's why you're on here tonight.
That's because I have a calendar on him in my office, which is right next to the picture of Nelson Rockefeller flipping the bird.
Nelson Rockefeller flipping the bird. Perfect.
You bet.
Well, this question leads into the next one, and I think you're right. And folks in chat, tell me if you think I'm right or wrong. Sessions is gone. He's a lame duck.
Yeah, of course.
He's out. You're out of here. You're out of here. So...
But he can't do it. Actually, he can't do it before the Kavanaugh gets approved.
Yeah.
Because basically he's been told by the Republican senators, look, we got a lot of things going on. We don't have any time to get you a new attorney general if you get rid of this guy.
Let's see if I can find it. There was a Twitter thing on Twitter that I was looking at, and it was a tweet Here we go. This is how weird and corrupt the Democrats are. This is a tweet from Kamala Harris. And now Kamala Harris has a little bit of history in California. But I'll tell you what, before I go into Kamala Harris, what we're going to do is we're going to take a break, come back in about 4 or 5 minutes. We're going to talk about Kamala Harris. And also, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, we are talking to Jeff Dunetz of lidblog.com. And come right back because we're going to continue to talk with Jeff right up to the top of the hour. Don't go nowhere.
You're listening to the SHR Media Network.
The new show on the SHR Media Network, Sackheads Against Tyranny, on shrmedia.com. Go there quick like a bunny, 11 p.m. Eastern, 8 p.m. Pacific, every Wednesday, live and direct on the SHR Media Network, shrmedia.com. Be there.
Human by race, Christian by faith, American by nationality, and conservative by choice. Reverend Ralph J. Chittum Sr. is the right guy on SHR Media from 8:05 to 9 p.m. Monday through Friday. And if on the rare occasion I am ever wrong, I will still always be right. The right guy on SHR Media.
When dirty politicians, shadow governments, and deceptive Islam blind the world with fake stream media smoke, their only fear is one man with a cane. I'm Dave Milner. Join me through shrmedia.com, highplainstalkradio.com, and the Western Free Radio Network at Spreaker, YouTube, and iTunes for a different perspective weekly on the unpleasant blind guy. And catch me on Jeff Mitchell's EDL Radio on blogtalkradio.com. There's
no surrender ever,
because truth is not always pleasant.
Hey, this is Michael Wright.
And I'm Shannon Wright.
Join us for The Right Way with Shannon and Mike, Monday through Thursday from 7 to 9 a.m. right here on SHR Media.
Why are they joining us?
For fun things like sports, politics.
Oh, maybe some news and entertainment?
And all kinds of other things.
Money and recipes and events, all kinds of stuff.
Yeah, so join us Monday through Thursday, 7 to 9 a.m. here on shrmedia.com.
Hey, who's going to take Sean's chair?
I'll run the buttons if you want.
The what?
The slider thingies.
The
those
what?
Things.
We have those?
Yeah, right over there.
Where?
It's on the board. That damn technology.
Fucking technology.
I know. What are we going to call it?
Call what?
The show.
What?
The show.
What show?
The new show, Wednesdays. Every Wednesday on shrmedia.com. 11 p.m. Eastern, 8 p.m. Pacific. Sackheads.
Against tyranny.
There you
go. Against tyranny.
I like that. Let's do it.
You guys are porked.
Hello. I'm Tim Hart. I'm the guy BZ hires due to his shameless contract with the SHR Media Network to voice his promos. He'd like me to tell you that the bloviating Zeppelin's Berserk Bobcat Saloon radio show can be found on SHR Media Network, Spreaker, and YouTube every Tuesday and Thursday night at 11 p.m. Eastern and 8 p.m. Pacific, featuring right thinking from a left brain and doing the job the American media maggots won't. You'll find that the speech is free, but the drinks are not. There, in the saloon, just when safety pin manufacturers are running out of metal for the diapers of the leftists, BZ is sending his personal drones of freedom into the wheelhouses and ossicles of lovers of sovereignty and liberty nationally and globally. Broadcasting behind enemy lines in occupied California, BZ swears that no rights were harmed in the making of this promo.
It's your business diva here, Melanie Collette. I am inviting you to a front row seat as I discuss some of the most intriguing details of wealth and finance with today's movers and shakers in the world of business. Listen in and discover financial truths on a global, domestic, and household scale. Uncover topics that will impact your wallet today and in the future. Money Talk with Melanie airs Monday through Friday, 5 p.m. East, 2 p.m. West, right here on SHR Media and High Plains Pundit Talk Radio. You can't afford to miss it.
Conservative media done right. You're listening to the SHR Media Network.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, you are listening to the Thursday night edition of the Bloviating Zeppelin's Berserk Bobcat Saloon radio show, live and direct from the SHR Media Network studios, the sumptuous and palatial SHR Media studios. You gotta like us and subscribe to us on Twitter at SHR Media Group. We're on Twitter at SHR Media Group. We're on YouTube. You can watch us live on YouTube. And if you do, hey, make sure that you subscribe to us on the YouTube channel. We're on Facebook. Like us and follow us on Facebook. SHRmedia.com. It's where you need to be. And it's where Jeff Dunetz is. Every Wednesday night. Welcome back, Jeff. Jeff Dunetz is on every Wednesday. He's on at 2 p.m. Eastern and 11 a.m. Pacific. He's got 1 hour of great guests. Well, let's see. The most recent great guest. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. 3 bags full.
I hate criticizing, but I got to criticize. I think the Wednesday night name, I think there should have been a much better name.
Instead of the Jeff Dunetz show?
No, the Wednesday night show.
Oh, okay.
Because
well, it used to be called the Wednesday night show, and then you moved it to the day. So now it's called the Jeff Dunetz show.
No, I'm talking about the show that you do on Wednesday.
Oh, the Sackheads Against Tyranny.
Yeah. If you see what Fox has done, that's very successful. It should be called the Jeff Dunetz Show After Show.
Oh, right. Like the other guy that we know, radio blogger, Dwayne Patterson from the Hugh Hewitt Show.
Right.
He has his own after show. And then he also partners up, Dwayne Patterson partners up with Ed Morrissey for a radio show.
He does on Thursdays.
Thursdays. Okay, so he was on today. So anyway, just to remind everybody, Jeff is at lidblog.com. All right, where's my sign? I'm all about promoting the stuffing out of you today, Jeff. See, there we are. And if you're watching, that's where you need to go.
If any of you want to play producer, I can go more than 1 day a week. It's just a question of I don't have the time to get guests more than 1 day a week.
Yeah, I know. Okay, that's a story. Oh my God. Folks, if you think that having a radio show is all fun and games, when you finally get somebody on the air and you know the phone works, then it can become fun and games. But, Jeff, maybe you can tell us about some of the trials and tribulations of trying to arrange for guests for radio shows. Holy crap!
I've had a friend that screwed on me twice. Although my highest rated show was because I just ranted like crazy for that whole show, and the podcast was very popular.
Did you rant about that person?
No.
Okay, good. All right, because you don't want to burn those bridges.
No, you don't want to burn those bridges. Besides, I have a guest on. You asked me to say who I've had on the show. I've had Victoria Coates on. Now, Victoria is a special assistant for President Trump for national security and a member of the National Security Council.
Okay.
And you know how some people have say that funny line, I could tell you, but I'd have to kill you.
Right.
When Victoria says it, she means it.
And she probably, I don't know her, but is she one of these people that could break you in two?
No, but she could arrange for it.
She knows people named Guido.
No, I think, but seriously, she's a member of the National Security Council and knows secrets that we shouldn't know.
Oh, yeah, she knows people. Before the break, I was talking to Jeff, and I said we were talking about Jeff Sessions, and then Jeff Dunetz, who we're speaking to here, brought up Kavanaugh. And I said, that harkens me back to a tweet from Kamala Harris. Now, Kamala Harris comes from California. She's still in California. Kamala Harris is best known for being the San Francisco City and County DA, and she decided actively that she was not going to seek the death penalty for a cop killer from an SFPD officer was killed. And that made everyone really happy to know that that's how much she valued police officers' lives, as in not. Then she was elected as Attorney General. She was Attorney General in California. Now she's one of the state senators. With Feinstein, she's replaced Barbara Boxer. And people
Who was the dumbest person in the Senate?
Instead of Boxer, sometimes it was Barbara Box O'Rocks, so to speak.
But let me tell you something else about Kamala Harris.
Okay.
Do you remember the guys who released the videos of Planned Parenthood selling the little parts of babies?
Yes, I do. Very effective videos. I wish they'd just continued.
Right. Well, Kamala Harris arrested them.
Yes, she had them arrested. Yes, she had the Cal DOJ write a warrant for their arrest. Correct.
And took some of the videos that we will never get to see.
Well, I can't imagine that she would have done that. No. I find that very difficult to believe.
Well, you got to realize that who her biggest donor is.
No. George Soros?
No. Planned Parenthood.
Really? Well,
yeah,
isn't that odd?
When I investigated why they were going after these folks, that I learned that. So it might be different for the Senate campaign. I mean, this is for her last Attorney General campaign.
Anyway, she put out a tweet with regard to Kavanaugh, and when Jeff mentioned Kavanaugh, I thought, I remember this. Her tweet said, "The president, meaning Trump, is an unindicted co-conspirator in federal crimes, and he has nominated someone to the Supreme Court who believes a sitting president should never be indicted. Retweet if you agree that Kavanaugh's hearings should be delayed until these investigations are completed." Well, obviously that serves the LDAM, leftists, Democrats, and the American media maggots, but the only reason to delay the hearings is just to screw with the Republicans, just because they can. And just because she says something doesn't mean it's so. How odd is that?
Well, Chucky Schumer said the same thing.
Yeah.
And it's not because he read her note, because the way he wears his glasses, there's no way he could read.
Okay, that's a good point. Here's another story that just came out, and Jeff, I'd like to get your take on it. Another in a continuing saga, episodic saga of fake news, and how news, besides being fake, is also hypocritical and biased. This just came out from, of all places, the Daily Beast, and it says, sources: NBC threatened Ronan Farrow if he kept reporting on Harvey Weinstein. Now stop for a second, folks. If you don't know, it's author Ronan Farrow who broke the story about the sex assaults involving Harvey Weinstein. The subheadline of this is, Ronan Farrow had already left NBC News, but a top lawyer at the network threatened to smear him if he continued to pursue the Hollywood mogul, multiple knowledgeable sources say. And I know that after I've told you this, you are beside yourself with, oh no, this could never happen.
Well, you got to understand something. Harvey Weinstein is Jewish. They own the media.
Right. That's obvious. Those are facts and evidence.
I'm not on that committee, but that's why they did it.
Well, come on, be honest. I value honesty and clarity. You're on every other Jewish committee, aren't you?
No. If I was on the media committee, traffic would be a lot bigger.
Okay, well, that's true. You would bring a lot more traffic. That is true.
And if I was on the banking committee, trust me, there would be people whose credit cards I'd cut off.
To continue with this story, it says, the producer who worked alongside Ronan Farrow at NBC News on his Harvey Weinstein investigation quit in protest earlier this month. Rich McHugh tendered his resignation on Friday, August 17th, a year to the day that the Weinstein story left with Farrow. I'm sorry. I'm trying to read this story, and there's a cat around my legs. She's meowing. I don't know if you guys can hear that.
Oh, wait a second. He was working with Farrow even after Farrow left, or?
It said the producer who worked alongside Ronan Farrow at NBC News on his Harvey Weinstein investigation quit in protest earlier this month. It said Rich McHugh tendered his resignation on Friday, August 17th, a year to the day that the Weinstein story left with Farrow. Since then, Farrow has won a Pulitzer Prize for a series of articles that revealed allegations of sexual harassment and assault, and questions have lingered about why the network gave up on the story that helped launch the Me Too movement.
Because Mr. Weinstein is a very powerful man in Hollywood, and they did not want to. Now, he has another story that's being quashed.
Okay. See, again, that's why I like to have you on the show.
The man who's running for Attorney General of Minnesota, that died down real quick, didn't it?
Okay, who was that? Refresh my memory.
Keith Ellison, remember?
Oh, right. Yes.
Right.
Yes.
They said, that was 2 weeks ago, they said they do interviews with them and figure out what was going on. Have you heard anything?
I've heard the crickets chirping in the fields, and that's about it.
That's right.
Nada.
That's all you're going to hear.
And it wasn't just, something in passing like he may have brushed against some female as walking by.
No.
The information is that he thumped his wife.
Girlfriend.
I'm sorry, girlfriend, okay.
Beat her up, tossed her off the bed, and the girlfriend even has a video of it.
Oh, but we can't see that because obviously absent the video, there is no proof, and we need to bury the story. We need to bury the lead.
Well, she doesn't want to share the video because she says that people should believe her on her word.
Okay.
And, if it was Hillary, and Hillary always said, believe them right away, unless you were raped by my husband.
Right.
But,
yeah. Funny how that works out.
Yeah, well.
Yeah.
But the other interesting thing is I love the Republican Party. They're going to investigate when he beats a girl. But the guy is a vicious anti-Semite who deals with terrorist groups.
Yes, he does.
That's nothing.
No. That's let's see. It was CARE, if I'm not mistaken, and
more than CARE.
Wasn't it Hamas and or Hezbollah?
It was.
Or was it Muslim Brotherhood?
The Muslim Brotherhood is CARE is the Muslim Brotherhood's organization in the United States.
Okay,
but Hamas, which is also tied to Hamas, and a couple of other organizations like that. So, look, I guess you can have a anti-Semite as the number 2 guy in the party when the past president was an anti-Semite.
I don't know about you. I so wanted Ellison to take DNC chair instead of Perez. I would love to have seen Ellison take DNC chair. Oh, the stories we could have told ad nauseum after that. We got about 12 more minutes before the
Do you know
top
what
of the
I
hour.
wish?
What's that?
I want to be on Outnumbered.
Really?
Yeah, I want to be on Outnumbered the day they have, what's her name? Harf.
Oh, Marie Harf? Okay.
Yeah, on. So I could explain to her that she worked for the most anti-Semitic administration since FDR.
And wasn't Marie Harf, again, if I'm not mistaken, wasn't she the mouthpiece for the Secretary or the Department of State, if I'm not mistaken?
Yes, for Kerry's Follies.
Okay, that's right, Kerry's Follies. Speaking of follies, I'd like to go over this story.
Sure.
Before we go, this is a story that you wrote today, sir, at lidblog.com. You got to go there, quick like a bunny. And the headline you wrote is, California Democratic Party Chair, Political Novice or Greedy Fool? And so I'm thinking, okay, that's an engaging title. And I see you have a photograph of an In-N-Out Burger sign with a big X through it. So you started out like this. There are perfectly reasonable reasons not to frequent the California fast food chain In-N-Out Burger. I almost said booger. He said
that would be a perfectly good one.
He said booger. Some people object to any fast food joint, or there are people like me who don't eat burgers that aren't kosher. But then there are the Democrats, at least the California Party chairman, who wants to, dig this, folks, dig this, wants to boycott In-N-Out Burger because the company donated money to the state's GOP. But wait, it gets better yet. It gets more foolish. They donated money to the state's GOP, but they also donated money to the Democrats. But that's not what they're objecting to. They're objecting and want to boycott In-N-Out because they sent money to the GOP. It's perfectly fine if you send it to the Democrats. So how did this story come to your attention, just out of curiosity?
It was a big talk on Twitter. But everyone was talking about it from the point of view of how could they boycott this? They're not tolerant. My thing is, I got to tell you something.
Okay.
I used to work for a guy who owned a lot of companies, and he had an apartment. One of his apartments was in New York because my company was in New York.
Okay.
And this guy. When I started working for him, he goes, "Oh, what are you, another New York liberal?" Because this guy was terrible right wing, okay, and he gave a lot of money to right wing, but he also threw parties for fundraising parties for his neighbor Schumer, because most people in companies give to both sides.
Yes, they're bidirectional, just like Trump, before becoming president, was bidirectional. He would donate cash to the GOP and also to the Democrats, just like you say.
They like to grease both sides.
Right.
So when this idiot, Mr. Bauman, decided to, throw a fit about the donations of Republicans and the Democrats, he's an idiot. Okay, he's an idiot because he knows that's the way the world works. And I was actually surprised that they gave to both, but they did, because from a management philosophy, they're a lot like Chick-fil-A. Okay, there are, from what I understand, they have biblical phrases on the cups and things.
Okay.
So they're very religious, the owners, but they knew they wanted to keep both sides happy. And this idiot Democrat is saying, well, let's boycott them. It's like, this isn't his first party.
No, he's been doing it. He's been doing it for some time.
Right. And I bet you, especially in Hollywood, maybe the big directors are all giving to the Democrats, but I bet you the studios themselves are giving to both.
Oh, you can probably take that to the bank. Here's what I consider to be your classic paragraph. And this is the killer, and this is the one that knocks your story out of the ballpark. In-N-Out is a hamburger chain based in California and has a menu featuring double burgers, fresh-cut fries, and what I understand, it also has a legendary secret menu. And if you know the secret menu, you can order your things animal and blah, 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 all sorts of stuff like that. But its menu doesn't have anything to do with boycotting threats, nor does the fact that it's owned by a deeply religious family known for discreetly placing Bible verses on hamburger wrappers and soft drink cups. Here's the sentence out of the whole story where you knock it for a home run. No, the Democrats are angry with In-N-Out because of its bipartisanship. Bingo. Exactly. So what they're saying essentially with, we have to boycott In-N-Out is bipartisanship? No, we're not going for that.
And think about it. I didn't want to go there, but I almost went there, because all afternoon, I am hearing bipartisanship, John McCain, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera.
Right, exactly.
And that's when they did it, you know. I mean, I don't know. Did you hear the speeches? I mean, Joe Biden.
Oh, yes, briefly.
Joe Biden, I was so surprised that he didn't pull like a real gab, like say, "Hey, come on, John, get up and take a bow."
God. For those unaware, Joe Biden, a long time ago in a galaxy far, far away, was making a speech and was trying to acknowledge another politician. And he said, "Come on, blah, 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 stand up and take a bow." Except the problem was the guy was in a wheelchair. Oopsie. Another Bidenism.
Well, that's why I always called him the schmotus.
He was the schmotus.
He was the schmo of the United States.
Oh, God. Again, I was going to say you can't write this stuff, but, well, yeah, you can write this stuff. Most deaf, you can write this stuff.
Well, yeah, I write most of the time. Sometimes I just monkey it around.
Okay, you want to go there? All right, we're going to go there. Maybe you can fill us in. We got about another 5 minutes left before the top of the hour break. Maybe you can fill us in on the Jeff Dunetz view of the Ron DeSantis comment about monkeying around.
Well, I mean, Ron DeSantis made a perfectly legitimate comment.
Yep.
He was talking about the socialism of his opponent, who happens to be an African American, and he said that, you know, things are going great now. Don't monkey it up.
Actually, do you want to hear the whole thing, not just taken out of context, but everything essentially that he said has created such an incendiary response to all of this? This is what he said.
I mean, this is Florida elections are always competitive, and this is a guy who, although he's much too liberal for Florida, I think he's got huge problems with how he's governed Tallahassee. He is an articulate spokesman for those far left views, and he's a charismatic candidate. And I watched those Democrat debates. None of that was my cup of tea, but I mean, he performed better than the other people there. So we've got to work hard to make sure that we continue Florida going in a good direction. Let's build off the success we've had on Governor Scott. The last thing we need to do is to monkey this up by trying to embrace a socialist agenda with huge tax increases and bankrupting the state. That is not going to work. That's not going to be good for Florida.
And that's essentially the statement that he made. And it's not just a little snippet. It gives you some before and some after. So, folks,
he used
Jeff,
the term "monkey it up" because he didn't want to say "fuck it up."
I wouldn't be surprised. And so what is it with monkey it up that's wrong?
Well, I think it goes back to Howard Cosell when he said, I don't remember who the runner was, when he said, "Look at that monkey run." It's a derisive term for black people that racists use. But he wasn't using it. He wasn't using it as a noun. He was using it as a verb.
Yes. Well, again, including journalists, it is continuing proof that I really don't believe that they could name parts of speech. They couldn't diagram a sentence to save their lives.
Well, my problem is that it just goes on and on with what the Democrats like to do, or what the press likes to do. Every Republican is a racist or a bigot. It is impossible for Democrats to be racist or bigots. And I went through DeSantis, and then I went another example where Barack Obama, when he was selling the Iran deal, was using all these, what do they call them? The terms?
Oh, dog whistles?
Dog whistles about Jews. About Jews that opposed his deal were the ones who got us into the Iraq War. Something that usually only Pat Buchanan says that kind of stuff. And the interesting truth is that Bush the 43rd asked the Prime Minister of Israel for his opinion. And the Prime Minister of Israel, Ariel Sharon, said, don't be a schmuck. If you get rid of Hussein, then Iran's going to take over the area. You don't want that to happen.
Yeah. Guess what happened?
Exactly.
Yeah, that was tough.
Well, that and Sharon having the strokes. But so the advice from Israel was don't do it. Netanyahu was a private citizen. He was going around saying, do it, do it, do it. But he was a private citizen. He wasn't part of the government. So Obama basically set up, and there were a couple of other incidences of that type where, those Jews are a bunch of warmongers.
Oh, of course they are. Oh, wait, it's not they, it's you. You're responsible. You, Jeff, you.
No, I'm not responsible anymore.
Did you, you turned the baton over to somebody else?
Well, in Brooklyn,
yeah,
there was somebody running for city council, for state senate,
right,
who told people that she was an immigrant from Colombia and a Jew.
I remember that.
Okay. Well, last week somebody proved that she wasn't really an immigrant from Colombia, and this week I proved that she wasn't a Jew. But I came up with a compromise because I'm that type of guy.
You are. You are bipartisan as much as you possibly can be.
Well, I hate to hurt people's feelings. I said that she could tell people she was a Jew, and I wouldn't say a word. Okay, as long as she just called a press conference and decided to take responsibility. She personally owns the media. Oh. She personally runs the banks. Okay, and you know what? And I wanted her to have another one that that it was Tel Aviv that 2,000 years ago, it was the Palestinians that killed Jesus. And my thinking of that was the Palestinians would come back and say, "What, are you crazy? There were no Palestinians then." That kills their other argument.
Yeah, two birds with one duck, so to speak. Folks, we've been talking to Jeff Dunetz of lidblog.com. And Jeff, thank you ever so kindly for being here. Thank you for staying up so late. It's like it's midnight 02 right now where you are on the East Coast. So thank you again, sir, very much for your time. We're going to have you back. I'd love to be back on your show. And
you will be.
And, well, you will be, too, except it's a lot easier for me than it is for you. And, again, so that's why I say thank you for staying up so late. Folks, that was Jeff Dunetz of lidblog.com. We're going to take a break, come back, and there will be more buttery political goodness. Trust me. And if you want to laugh, have I got something for you to laugh at? Oh, my God. I played this thing. I think Monday is when I first saw it. It's an audio cut that I'm going to play for you, but it's a video. You need to see the video as well. So at the end of my show tonight, you got to go find this video. But even the audio is funny as hell. The first time I heard it, I played that thing at least probably another 10 times right in a row.
You're listening to the SHR Media Network.
The new show on the SHR Media Network, Sackheads Against Tyranny, on shrmedia.com. Go there quick like a bunny, 11 p.m. Eastern, 8 p.m. Pacific, every Wednesday, live and direct on the SHR Media Network. shrmedia.com. Be there.
Human by race, Christian by faith, American by nationality, and conservative by choice. Reverend Ralph J. Chittum Sr. is the right guy on SHR Media from 8:05 to 9 p.m. Monday through Friday. And if on the rare occasion I am ever wrong, I will still always be right. The right guy on SHR Media.
When dirty politicians, shadow governments, and deceptive Islam blind the world with fake stream media smoke, their only fear is one man with a cane. I'm Dave Milner. Join me through SHRmedia.com, HighPlainsTalkRadio.com, and the Western Free Radio Network at Spreaker, YouTube, and iTunes for a different perspective weekly on the Unpleasant Blind Guy. And catch me on Jeff Mitchell's EDL Radio on BlogTalkRadio.com. There's
no surrender ever.
Because truth is not always pleasant.
Hey, this is Michael Wright.
And I'm Shannon Wright.
Join us for The Right Way with Shannon and Mike, Monday through Thursday from 7 to 9 a.m. right here on SHR Media.
Why are they joining us?
For fun things like sports, politics.
Oh, maybe some news and entertainment?
And all kinds of other things.
Money and recipes and events, all kinds of stuff.
Yeah, so join us Monday through Thursday, 7 to 9 a.m. here on SHRmedia.com.
Hey, who's going to take Sean's chair?
I'll run the buttons if you want.
The what?
The slider
what?
thingies.
The
Those
what?
things.
We have those?
Yeah, right over there.
Where?
It's on the board. That damn technology.
Fucking technology.
I know. What are we going to call it?
Call what?
The show.
What?
The show.
What show?
The new show, Wednesdays. Every Wednesday on SHRmedia.com. 11 p.m. Eastern, 8 p.m. Pacific. Sackheads.
Against tyranny.
There you
Against
go.
tyranny.
I like that. Let's do it.
You guys are porked.
Hello, I'm Tim Hart. I'm the guy BZ hires due to his shameless contract with the SHR Media Network to voice his promos. He'd like me to tell you that the bloviating Zeppelin's Berserk Bobcat Saloon radio show can be found on SHR Media Network, Spreaker, and YouTube every Tuesday and Thursday night at 11 p.m. Eastern and 8 p.m. Pacific, featuring right thinking from a left brain and doing the job the American media maggots won't. You'll find that the speech is free, but the drinks are not. There, in the saloon, just when safety pin manufacturers are running out of metal for the diapers of the leftists, BZ is sending his personal drones of freedom into the wheelhouses and ossicles of lovers of sovereignty and liberty nationally and globally. Broadcasting behind enemy lines in occupied California, BZ swears that no rights were harmed in the making of this promo.
It's your business diva here, Melanie Collette. I am inviting you to a front row seat as I discuss some of the most intriguing details of wealth and finance with today's movers and shakers in the world of business. Listen in and discover financial truths on a global, domestic, and household scale. Uncover topics that will impact your wallet today and in the future. Money Talk with Melanie airs Monday through Friday, 5 p.m. East, 2 p.m. West, right here on SHR Media and High Plains Pundit Talk Radio. You can't afford to miss it.
Conservative media done right. You're listening to the SHR Media Network.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, welcome back to the bloviating Zeppelin's Berserk Bobcat Saloon radio show. I am broadcasting live and direct in the sumptuous and palatial SHR Media Network studio. And we are on all sorts of social media these days. You got to like us and you got to follow us on Twitter. We are on Twitter at SHR Media Group. All one word, SHR Media Group. We're on YouTube. Tons of people in YouTube right now that are chatting, which is where you could be right now. Go to the SHR Media YouTube channel. Subscribe to our channel. All you got to do is go over to that little button that says subscribe. And then if you like the show, click like. The more subscriptions we get, the more likes we can grow the audience. It can be word of mouth. They can come over. They can like my show. They can listen to the Shat Show. They can listen to all the other shows that are carried on the SHR Media Network right there. Also, we're on Periscope. If you subscribe or you follow us on Twitter, when we crank up Periscope, you get a little ding saying something similar to ding. That's literally the word ding. And you can see our Periscope feed going. So like us, click us, follow us on Periscope. We are on iTunes. If you're listening to us on iTunes, go over there quick like a bunny and you can listen to us in the podcast. You can listen to us later. Like any and all of the podcasts. If you listen to us on Spreaker, make sure you click that little like button. Boom! You like us, you love us, you want more of us. Did I just say that? I think I did. No. I know what we're going to do. Because, I need to link all this stuff together. I'm sorry. For the first hour, we usually, after a guest, we usually start with this. And why should the second hour here now be any different, right?
It's time for happy stories and good times.
Here's a happy story. This, oddly enough, is right out of CNBC. It says, U.S. economy logs best performance in nearly 4 years. How does that, John Trump, how does he get to be such a bigot, a racist, a homophobe, and he tanks the economy at the same time? Wait a minute, did I say that it was some of the best the economy has been in 4 years? And wait a minute, did that mean that I just had a producer who hit the major suspense? Dun, dun, dun. Anyway, from CNBC.com, U.S. economic growth was a bit stronger than initially thought in the second quarter. It was the economy's best performance in nearly 4 years. Businesses boosted spending on software and imports declined. You know what? I'd put that up into a happy story category, wouldn't you? Here's another one. This is from CNN Politics. Hey, folks, if you say that BZ is somehow biased and doesn't read or talk about stories from CNBC or CNN, now this is living proof that that's false. Because this story is from CNN. But it's, for once, I'm pretty sure, it's false. It's correct. Did I say false? I didn't mean that. I meant correct. It says, McConnell cuts deal with Democrats to confirm judge nominees. And you may be thinking to yourself, is he really? Well, this is from CNN. From CNN. Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell cut a deal with Democratic leaders in the upper chamber to clear a slate of President Trump nominees. One of the top August priorities for the Kentucky Republican, the deal, which permitted 11 nominees to be cleared immediately and another 8 to be voted on next week, will also allow senators who missed most of the August recess to go home for a couple of days before many come back at the end of the week to say farewell to their colleague, John McCain, who died last Saturday. McConnell canceled the August recess after being pushed by restive conservatives in his caucus to stay in session to approve Trump's picks and make progress on oft-delayed spending bills. Many senators hoped the threat would be short-lived, but after liberal Democrats bottled up the nominees and refused to relent, McConnell was forced to take time-consuming procedural steps to overcome the filibusters. Translated is, Trump is appointing more district and appellate judges than almost any other president in history. I'd say that happens to be a happy story. Here's another happy story. This is out of Fox Business. Gun control steps hurt Dick's Sporting sales. Shares slip. Oh, Dick's, did you step on your dick? Perhaps you did. The company posted a 1.9% fall in same-store sales, bigger than the average estimate of a 0.62% drop, also blaming weak sales of Under Armour products at its stores. Dick's was one of the first retailers to stop selling assault rifles and high-cap magazines, as well as bar the sale of guns to people under 21, following a massacre at a Florida high school in February. The company had predicted that its hunting guns business would be pressurized due to the change in its gun sales policy, but said the move also attracted more people to its stores. Really? Then why this? Dick's said it expected annual same-sales stores to decline 3% to 4%, compared with the 0.3% decline in its 2017 fiscal year. Dick's also said it expects earnings per share in the range of $3.02 to $3.20 for the year ending February 19. So the happy story behind that is, after deciding that they're going to screw over the NRA and gun owners, Dick's is not having a great time, and perhaps one could even say that they pulled kind of a dickly move. Speaking of dickly moves with guns, once again, here's fake news. Now I'm going to tell you the real news. This is from the Washington Times. A shock study. The U.S. had far fewer mass shootings than previously reported. But you didn't hear that report about the conflicting report, did you? A shock 2016 study that, by the way, this is a BZ editorial aside, that was used and quoted oftentimes by leftists, Democrats, and the American media maggots. A shock 2016 study argued that the U.S. accounted for nearly 1/3 of all mass shootings, sparking global headlines about the dangers of an American gun culture. Now another researcher says the original study botched the data. There's a guy named John Lott Jr., president of the Crime Prevention Research Center. He actually crunched the numbers and said his count shows the U.S. had less than 3% of the world's mass public shootings over a 15-year period. That's smaller than the 4.6% of the world's population that the U.S. accounts for, and way less than the 31% of global mass shooters that Adam Lankford, a professor at the University of Alabama, claimed in his widely publicized studies. Translated means all the LDAM used his study as proof that America's gun culture, there are slaughterings going on every day. Oh, wait, hold that thought. Was he talking about Chicago? He said, if you fix the data, you get the opposite result from him, Mr. Lott says. He has the United States way out there, all by itself in terms of mass public shootings. He's simply wrong. The United States, when I go through this, ranks 58th in the world in the rate of mass public shootings and 62nd in the world in terms of murders from mass public shootings. Imagine that. Mr. Lott said he tried to get Mr. Lankford, the guy who originally created that false data, to disclose his data so that he could look at it, but the professor, Lankford, won't share it with him or any other researchers, making it impossible to double-check the original claims or to figure out why Mr. Lott's numbers are so different. Isn't that imagine now? Wouldn't you think that if you're absolutely insistent that your reports are the bee's knees, and you had another researcher say, "Hey, I'm looking to confirm that data," wouldn't you be the first person to say something similar to, "Well, yes, come see my data. I have it for everyone to see"? No, and that says basically all you need to know about that data and about that report. If you want to find this next video, I prepped it already. I told you about it. This is 2 minutes and 20 seconds where I was extremely glad that I wasn't drinking any kind of a carbonated beverage when I heard this. But after you hear it, you're going to want to hear it again. So you can go onto Twitter, you can go onto YouTube or any place else on the internet and simply say something like Sarah Huckabee Sanders press briefing video. And you'll probably get to it quick like a bunny. I heard this. I fell over backwards laughing. This is 2 minutes and 20 seconds of some of the best fun you're going to have probably this week.
I need a drink. Okay, idiots, are you ready? I just can't stand the faces of you people. Those dead, questioning eyes. You dummies don't matter. Greedo?
What happens when I scratch a horseradish all over my face?
Now, why would you do this?
Well, definitely gonna scrape it somewhere.
Yeah, you don't matter. Mangy?
My beard itches pretty bad. Is this because of my bugs?
You have literal bugs?
Uh-huh. I think it's mainly bed bugs.
Okay, you gotta go.
Wait, is this about the bugs?
Yeah, it is. Stank?
Yeah, when is the Roswell
you really thought to take your question? You suck.
Hey, the way you talk to me, I mean, do you need to talk so evil?
Do you need to look like a stuffed baked potato in that Walmart shirt? 'Cause you suck. Lanky?
It's been a whole hour since Kristen sat on my whistle.
I did not sit on it.
Then where's my whistle?
It's a really important issue, chump.
Yeah, what about guys like me, you know? Like, our eyes are really honest, but then our brain's got a violent virus.
I could not care less. Creature?
How can I tell if my Labrador is female?
Easy, you suck. Let's see, Sasquatch Steven.
Would you rub my feet if I tickled yours?
You're weird. Nah, nope.
Not even fun tickles?
What is that? Listen, I'm gonna punch you and I'll punch in your esophagus.
Great.
chocolate curl.
You know how I was part of a gang that made bed quilts?
Sure. Mm-hmm.
Okay, so this one guy, Benji Binkelman, had this horrible breast problem.
Okay, so maybe we'll just wrap that up, turd.
What I really need is a craft table, a magic wand, and someone to feed me pickles.
Okay, Jeeves.
Do you feel you prefer ice sheets or maybe like summer rain?
Or I could feed you to the polar bears?
Alright.
Gina.
It's Gina.
That's what I said. Gina.
Gina.
I'm sorry?
Gina?
Yeah, I don't know. Chachi. Stink leg. Bork. Varicose Ken. This jerk.
Hey, I'm crazy about you. When can I see you?
No, never sounds like a good day.
Hey, I'm sensitive, yet dangerous, and I make nachos.
That's about the 25th time I've played that. And what it is, it's a press briefing that they've overdubbed the lip syncing of these people talking, which is why the audio is funny enough. But when you actually see these reporters, they look like they're saying exactly what you're hearing. This is one of the best assembled videos that I've seen in quite some time. Oh my God, I could play that again right now and I would laugh every bit as much. And I don't know, if you need humor as much as I need humor these days, oh boy, okay. Also, while I was in the Twitter world, I came across this video. It's so incredibly illustrative of the state of the times, and it's from Dave Rubin at the Rubin Report on Twitter. It's, again, 2 minutes and 20 seconds long. What is it with 2:20? I don't know. In any event, the question is asked, what is a classic liberal? And as you're listening to this, it is the definition of that. As you're listening to this, because it's very well done, extremely well executed, lays out perfect arguments with historical reference. This is yesterday, this isn't now. And then it asks, are you a classic liberal? Now listen to this, and you're going to have to, I'd like to, when you hear this finally, and it concludes, I want you to ask yourself, are you a classic liberal?
What is a classical liberal? It sounds like someone who's a liberal, but perhaps a bit fancier, maybe sporting a top hat, a twirly mustache, and a monocle. Tea time! While that might be true in some specific cases, there's a lot more to it than that, and I bet I can convince you that there's a little classical liberal in you too in about 2 minutes. Me? Classical liberalism is the idea that individual freedom and limited government are the best way for humans to form a free society.
Individual freedom and less government.
The classical liberal tradition was born from great thinkers such as John Locke, Adam Smith, John Stuart Mill, and Thomas Jefferson. While they all tinkered in their own way with the ideas of classical liberalism, the core belief that the individual should always be considered above the group always remained constant. Thomas Jefferson even threw in the pursuit of happiness in the Constitution to drive home the point that your happiness wasn't the government's to give, but rather yours to take.
That's a classic liberal. Who else does it sound like?
Putting the individual above the group not only empowers you to live your life as you see fit, but it also neutralizes the forces of racism and bigotry, which judge people not on their individuality, but on their immutable group characteristics, be it color of skin, gender, or sexuality. These days, liberalism has been confused with leftism or progressivism, which actually has nothing to do with classical liberalism. Sadly, the left is no longer liberal at all, for it has traded in individualism for collectivism, thus placing us in an oppression Olympics where victimhood is virtue. This postmodernism, this cultural Marxism, or whatever you want to call it, can only destroy, it cannot create. If you buck the trend and dare succeed as a member of one of these supposed oppressed minorities, you must be tossed aside because your success is confirmation of the failure of this worldview. This is what the left is offering, and that's not classically liberal, it's radically illiberal. So it doesn't matter if you're a liberal, a conservative, a libertarian, or an independent. It doesn't matter if you're a Christian or an atheist, a man or a woman, or black or white. What matters is whether you wish to live as a free person in a free society based on your own ideas and actions. I suspect that you do, and if I'm right, there's already a little classical liberal in you right now.
So, are you a classical liberal? I'll wager that you very well may be. This is a very disturbing article that I came across today, of all places and all times. I search all over the internet, and I find unique places that I've never visited before. This is one of them. It's called mm24info.com. The headline was enough just in and of itself to make me sit up and go, WTF. The headline is this: Soros, meaning George Soros, online Trump supporters will be entirely silenced by 2020. So make no mistake, I likewise believe that's the goal. And you can hear Demi in the background, our little studio kitty. Oh, she's back by my legs. Hello, Demi. Good to see you. Billionaire globalist George Soros is planning to eliminate the majority of Trump supporters from social media before the 2020 election, according to a leaked document. The 49-page document outlines plans by Soros to exert his influence via his immense personal wealth to pressure big tech to censor and purge pro-Trump journalists, citizens, and outlets ahead of the next presidential election. And here's the quote. A confidential 49-page memo for defeating Trump by working with the major social media platforms to eliminate, quote, right-wing propaganda and fake news was presented in January 2017 by Media Matters founder David Brock at a retreat in Florida with about 100 donors, the Washington Free Beacon reported at the time. The document obtained by the Free Beacon states that Media Matters and other Soros-funded groups have access to raw data from Facebook, Twitter, and other social media sites so that they can, quote, systematically monitor and analyze this unfiltered data. WakingTimes.com reports the full confidential memo, which reads like a subversive political manifesto, was written by American liberal political activist and author David Brock, also the founder of Media Matters for America, entitled Democracy Matters, Strategic Plan for Action, and composed in early 2017, it lays out the Democratic plan to oppose Trump's presidency at all costs by waging a daily media war. And we have been feeling the results of this strategy since Trump took office. And after nearly 2 years as president, the media landscape is in utter chaos, and the population is more divided than it has been since the American Civil War. Regarding Soros, by the way, he is a known financier of Media Matters, and he supported that since 2010 in an overt effort to counter news organizations just like Fox News. Soros also has developed the reputation of being the world's leading agitprop bankroller. Media Matters, this is another quote, Media Matters is one of the few groups that attempts to hold Fox News accountable for the false and misleading information they so often broadcast. I am supporting Media Matters in an effort to more widely publicize the challenge Fox News poses to civil and informed discourse in our democracy. That is a George Soros quote. So, make no mistake. The social media platforms are trying to blow up conservatives, as you already know, but again, day by day, week by week, month by month, we're finding more confirmation that this is true. Now, you and I both know it's true because I've been shadow banned. I've had tweets from people coming to me. I've also had emails. bz@shrmedia.com, bz@shrmedia.com. Reduce the number of F and S words if you decide to send me some mail. I've been shadow banned. People have sent me emails saying, you know, I can't see your stuff, dude. And I used to get your stuff. Now I don't get your stuff. And the only way I can see your stuff is if I go to your timeline. People occasionally, the last person that said that was about almost 2 months ago, saying, I can't see what it is that you're putting out on Twitter. Most of my stuff is on Twitter. Some of my stuff is on Facebook. I'm much more active on Twitter. So my shadow ban, it comes and goes. What kind of a threat, though? Ask yourself this. The little ugly, fat, elderly, balding, beardly, fuzzball, me, I have 3,630 followers. And that's it. Okay, I've made about 29 to 30,000 tweets, but that's how many followers I have. So I can't be accused of rampaging following. Basically, I only follow the people that I like and or want to read. So I'm not out to just get an arseload of followers. But you have to ask yourself, what kind of a threat am I? I don't have poop for followers. I mean, the followers I have, they're great. You can follow me. By God, I want you to follow me. Here's my Twitter handle. Follow me, pretty please, at BZEP, B-Z-E-P. Really easy to remember. Follow the hell out of me. Send more people my way so that they can follow me as well. And in the next week, I may get 7 or 8 more followers. So I'm knocking them dead at Twitter. So why is it that Twitter feels it incumbent to shadow ban me? I'm just a fat little fuzzball with an occasional radio show. But you have to ask yourself a very sensible question. Why would someone go out of their way to try to make sure that I can't get my messages across on Twitter, which is a social platform? Is it because I'm effective? Well, how effective am I if I've only got 3,600 followers? Is there something in between? Or somehow, am I more effective than Twitter wants me to know?
You're listening to the SHR Media Network.
The new show on the SHR Media Network, Sackheads Against Tyranny. On shrmedia.com. Go there quick like a bunny, 11 p.m. Eastern, 8 p.m. Pacific, every Wednesday. Live and direct on the SHR Media Network. shrmedia.com. Be there.
Human by race, Christian by faith, American by nationality, and conservative by choice. Reverend Ralph J. Chittum Sr. is the right guy on SHR Media from 8:05 to 9 p.m., Monday through Friday. And if on the rare occasion I am ever wrong, I will still always be right. The right guy on SHR Media.
When dirty politicians, shadow governments, and deceptive Islam blind the world with fake stream media smoke, their only fear is one man with a cane. I'm Dave Milner. Join me through SHRmedia.com, HighPlainsTalkRadio.com, and the Western Free Radio Network at Spreaker, YouTube, and iTunes for a different perspective weekly on the Unpleasant Blind Guy. And catch me on Jeff Mitchell's EDL Radio on BlogTalkRadio.com. There's
no surrender ever,
because truth is not always pleasant.
Hey, this is Michael Wright.
And I'm Shannon Wright.
Join us for The Right Way with Shannon and Mike, Monday through Thursday from 7 to 9 a.m., right here on SHR Media.
Why are they joining us?
For fun things like sports, politics.
Oh, maybe some news and entertainment?
And all kinds of other things.
Money and recipes and events, all kinds of stuff.
Yeah, so join us Monday through Thursday, 7 to 9 a.m. here on SHRmedia.com.
Hey, who's going to take Sean's chair?
I'll run the buttons if you want.
The what?
The slider
the
thingies. Those
what?
Things.
We have those?
Yeah, right over there.
Where?
It's on the board. That damn technology.
Fucking technology.
I know. What are we going to call it?
Call what?
The show.
What?
The show.
What show?
The new show, Wednesdays. Every Wednesday on shrmedia.com. 11 p.m. Eastern, 8 p.m. Pacific. Sackheads.
Against tyranny.
There you
Against
go.
tyranny.
I like that. Let's do it.
You guys are porked.
Hello, I'm Tim Hart. I'm the guy BZ hires, due to his shameless contract with the SHR Media Network, to voice his promos. He'd like me to tell you that the bloviating Zeppelin's Berserk Bobcat Saloon radio show can be found on SHR Media Network, Spreaker, and YouTube every Tuesday and Thursday night at 11 p.m. Eastern and 8 p.m. Pacific, featuring right thinking from a left brain and doing the job the American media maggots won't. You'll find that the speech is free, but the drinks are not. There, in the saloon, just when safety pin manufacturers are running out of metal for the diapers of the leftists, BZ is sending his personal drones of freedom into the wheelhouses and ossicles of lovers of sovereignty and liberty nationally and globally. Broadcasting behind enemy lines in occupied California, BZ swears that no rights were harmed in the making of this promo.
It's your business diva here, Melanie Collette. I am inviting you to a front row seat as I discuss some of the most intriguing details of wealth and finance with today's movers and shakers in the world of business. Listen in and discover financial truths on a global, domestic, and household scale. Uncover topics that will impact your wallet today and in the future. Money Talk with Melanie airs Monday through Friday, 5 p.m. East, 2 p.m. West, right here on SHR Media and High Plains Pundit Talk Radio. You can't afford to miss it.
Conservative media done right. You're listening to the SHR Media Network.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, it's the final half hour, the final 25 minutes, the final segment of the Bloviating Zeppelin's Berserk Bobcat Saloon radio show, live and direct right here from the SHR Media studios in the sumptuous and palatial SHR Media studios. I'm the Bloviating Zeppelin. This is the Berserk Bobcat Saloon radio show. For the first hour, we had Jeff Dunetz of lidblog.com. What a guy, what a trooper. Thanks again to Jeff. We were talking about social media. We were talking about the influence of George Soros. There were some other stories that I read to you and told you, regaled you. I'm going to have another one coming up as soon as I put this over here. I'm going to have another story coming up about some people that are starting to push back. This might be effective. It might not be very effective. I'm going to tell you that story right after this. This is the newest Kurt Schlichter article, and I had Kurt Schlichter on last Thursday. Kurt Schlichter, he was on for an hour. What a great guy. It was a laugh riot. I had a great time. Got to have him back. His book is going to come out next month about militant normals. I'm going to pick up a copy. I would recommend that you do that as well. His newest article is called, "It's Time for a Conservative Purge." What does Kurt Schlichter mean by a conservative purge? You typically don't grow a movement by subtraction, but it's become clear that some prominent figures in the world of conservatism are negative numbers. They are net liabilities, and we need to boot them out of the big tent or they'll keep stinking up the place. We need to clean house, to send the cruise shilling hacks, whiny geebos, and the careerist dillweeds of Conservative Incorporated packing. Mitt Romney, Ben Sass, and others, I'm looking at you. We need a purge. Let's be clear, I'm not talking about one of those purges like in that stupid Purge movie series where we would hunt the Frito-Cons dorks for sport. That would be terrible. Most of them are too tubby or too delicate to give us a real challenge, and it would just not be very sporting. We can settle for throwing them out of the party. They can drag their stuff over to their liberal pals' places and crash on their couches for a while. One of the many things about the Trump era is the great clarification that it has provided. His rise, which challenged the establishment's iron grip on power, clarified who was truly conservative and who was just pretending to be conservative as a career move. I talk about those hacks in great and vicious detail in my upcoming book, Militant Normals, How Regular Americans Are Rebelling Against the Elite to Reclaim Our Democracy, except I use a lot of swears there. Their incompetence and treachery earned them. Who needs to go? How about the aforementioned Mitt Romney, the preening tattletale who was Evan McMullin before Evan McMullin was Evan McMullin? We just didn't know it yet. And to think that a lot of us voted for him in 2013, I'm one of them, by the way. Can you imagine if he won, though? He would have rolled on the climate scam, appointed milquetoast judges, and generally showed his belly to the establishment because he is the establishment. That's where his loyalties lie. Can you just see him after leaving office in 2020 following 8 years of wheel spinning, hanging out with his good friends Bill and George and Barack? Now this loser is running to replace Jeff Flake and Bob Corker, who we drove out of the Senate in shame as the high-pitched voice of the Vichy resistance. Mitt's going to really rub Ben Sass the wrong way because the Nebraska nag wants that gig for himself. Sass loves talking about how Trump, and by extension us, fails to meet his exacting standards for decorum, decency, and defeat in the fight against progressivism. Mitt threatens to steal his strange new respect spotlight and watch those two have the world's most passive-aggressive, mean girl fight for the mantle of leadership of the anti-Trump GOP Senate contingent. Insufferable sissy Sass, man, that's not easy to say, is everything that is wrong with the Republican Party establishment. He's boring, sanctimonious, and utterly lacking any accomplishment except for distinguishing himself by running his fool mouth about Trump to any enemy outlet that will listen. Sass poses as one of us and even wrote an unreadable book mouthing a conservative critique of our crummy culture. The first line is, and I'm not kidding, Sheryl Crow rocketed to stardom in 1996 on the strength of a single paradox. If I ever write something that awful, please hunt me for sport. In any case, his tiresome tome illustrates the problem. He writes a book about the culture war, then gets his panties all in a bunch when we elect someone who's finally willing to fight it. These guys need to go because they aren't interested in winning. They are interested in maintaining the status quo. Conservative Inc. is all about talking and not fighting. After all, if we win the culture war, who needs them to write about it anymore? Victory means the donations dry up and they'll have to get real jobs like us normals. That just won't do. By the way, my dream is for Ben Sass to write an epically fussy review of militant normals in the Dying Cruise Trip brochures, that is the Weekly Standard, which I can then proudly wear like a medal. Let me help start it off. Quote, "This vulgar ruffian Kurt Schlichter is not who we are, and his book made me cry because he was mean to George Will." America's two political parties, I don't count the ideological Dutch oven that is the Libertarians or the Maoist Mongoloids of the Greens as parties. America's two political parties are changing. Their coalitions are shifting dramatically, and we are now seeing an outsider party of conservative populists, the GOP, and one of insider leftists, Democrats, develop. Of course, this leaves a lot of people who are only nominally within their traditional party. Lots of people no longer fit where they grew up. How many ex-Democrats voted to make Trump president? And how many ex-Republicans collaborated with Felonia Milhouse von Pantsuit at the ballot box? So until we complete the purge, we'll have treacherous elements within the GOP who should fess up to their embrace of liberalism but can't, because then they'd be totally cut off from their cushy gigs. The problem is not people with criticisms of Donald Trump. He's not an ideological conservative, so we need to keep him focused. It's the people who hate the normals who now use the GOP as their vehicle for representation. They should depart. So we're seeing a great sorting. To put it in terms millennials can dig, think of a Harry Potter sorting hat that says, you won't fight hard to defund people who are killing babies. You think it's cool to diss the flag at football games. You're happy to teach non-submissive conservatives being silenced by liberal tech companies, write stuff that no one reads, and have strong opinions about Star Trek. Yes, you are never Trump. I know you want to be GOP, but you are Democrat. The Magic Hat is right. They're no longer Republicans, and when they pretend to be, they misinterpret who we really are. Jennifer Rubin is not a conservative commentator, no matter how often the liberals call her that. She's a lib. Brett Stevens is a lib. Ahoy, people. Bill Kristol is a lib. They all tried to fake conservatism to get where they are, then freaked out when they figured out that us normals are actually serious about all this stuff and that we are not going to wait forever for the likes of them to make it happen. So when we toss them out, They should be sent off wearing scarlet letters, IWYGT. I'm why you got Trump. These people are no loss to our party. Their subtraction is actually addition. 2 words for the pseudocons who aren't happy with where the GOP is today because the party, for better or worse, is the organized political engine of conservatism. Get out. And be happy that we're not going to hunt you for sport. Today's article by Kurt Schlichter. Let's go back to the social media. Then I want to kind of wrap with a report that I bet you didn't hear about. Kind of saving the best for last. At least I'm saving the report I'm pretty sure you haven't heard splayed all across the tops of the folds of newspapers, whatever the hell those things are, or the tops of various internet sites. You're not going to read this. But first, more information about Facebook and some people that they're in trouble with dad and they're in trouble with mom. Not regular trouble. I'm talking about big trouble. Maybe it's in Little China. I don't know. Oddly enough, BZ is quoting a New York Times article. See, aren't I terribly egalitarian tonight? I sure as hell am. Hey, I told you a CNBC headline. I gave you a CNN headline. Now I'm giving you a New York Times headline. And these people are going to be in trouble. Dozens at Facebook unite to challenge its intolerant liberal culture. If I had a producer after you heard intolerant liberal culture, hello? Producer. See, that's another reason that I don't have a producer. Dozens at Facebook unite to challenge its intolerant liberal culture. San Francisco. The post went up quietly on Facebook's internal message board last week titled, "We have a problem with political diversity." It quickly took off inside the social network. "We are a political monoculture that's intolerant of different views." Ooh, somebody is going to get spanked. And then there's a name. Oh, worse yet. Brian Amerige, or Amerige, Amerige. Sorry for spelling it, dude. People are going to be showing up at your house. A senior Facebook engineer wrote in the post, which was obtained by the New York Times, "We claim to welcome all perspectives, but we're quick to attack, often in mobs, anybody who presents a view that appears to be in opposition of left-leaning ideology. Facts and fucking evidence." And even Facebook is starting to acknowledge it internally in a memo that they didn't want leaked. Since the post went up, more than 100 Facebook employees have joined Mr. Amerige to form an online group called FBers for Political Diversity, according to 2 people who viewed the group's page and who were not authorized to speak publicly. The aim of the initiative, according to Mr. Amerige's memo, is to create a space for ideological diversity within the company. The new group is upset. Oh, here we come. Here we come. All the little softies they're going to cluster about. The new group has upset other Facebook employees who said its online posts were offensive to minorities. Diversity of opinion is offensive to minorities. A political monoculture that's intolerant of different views, that's the quote, is intolerant of minorities. Really. Offensive to minorities. Here we go to the crux of the biscuit. One engineer who declined to be identified for fear of retaliation said several people had lodged complaints with their managers about FBers for political diversity and were told that it had not broken any company rules. Another employee said the group appeared to be constructive and inclusive of different political viewpoints. Mr. Amerige did not respond to requests for comment. The activity is a rare sign of organized dissent within Facebook over the company's largely liberal workplace culture. This is the New York Times writing about Facebook's largely liberal workspace culture. While the new group is just a sliver of Facebook's workforce of more than 25,000, the company's workers have in the past appeared less inclined than their peers at other tech companies to challenge leadership, and most have been loyalists to its chief executive, Mark Zuckerberg. But over the past 2 years, Facebook has undergone a series of crises, including the spread of misinformation by Russians on its platform and the mishandling of users' data. Let me tell you something that you probably already intuitively know, but no one else is going to tell you, and that's this. Google and Twitter and Facebook all share your data. So if you think because you're on one platform that every other social media platform doesn't know everything about you that the initial platform does, you would be sadly, very terribly, mistakenly wrong. Because in social media, what's the axiom? And the axiom is, you're the product. On social media, you're the product. You are being used as the product. It's you. And what's the benefit to you? The benefit is you get to communicate with people. The benefit to them is they get to sell your data and then arrange to target you with ads, etc. That's a story for another day. That opens up another door that I just don't have the time to walk through right now because I got about 10 minutes left in the show. I want to finish with this story. This is the one that I said you had not heard. This is a headline. Just came out, I think, late last night or early today. No, yesterday, I'm sorry. Bombshell. That's funny. Did you hear the bombshell land? I didn't. Did you hear it covered by CNBC or MSNBC, CBS, NBC, ABC, or CNN? No, you didn't. Bombshell. FEC Records. Why isn't she in court? Why isn't she in an orange jumpsuit? FEC records indicate Hillary Clinton illegally laundered $84 million. That's funny. Do FEC records show that Donald Trump laundered or illegally laundered $84 million? If those two names were reversed, when would you hear the end of this story? And the answer would be not until late 2019. Bombshell. FEC records indicate Hillary Clinton illegally laundered $84 million. The mainstream media took no notice of a federal court filing that exposes an $84 million laundering conspiracy Democrats executed during the 2016 presidential election. The press continues to feed the dying Russia collusion conspiracy theory, spending Friday's news cycle regurgitating Democrat talking points from the just-filed Racketeer-Influenced and Corrupt Organizations Act lawsuit against the Trump campaign, WikiLeaks, and Russia. Yet, the mainstream media took no notice of last week's federal court filing that exposes an $84 million money laundering conspiracy the Democratic National Committee and the Hillary Clinton campaign executed during the 2016 presidential election in clear violation of federal campaign finance law. A federal court filing. This isn't an allegation. This isn't a hint. This isn't a suggestion. This is an actual federal court filing that exposes an $84 million money laundering conspiracy between the DNC and the Hillary Clinton campaign. That lawsuit, filed last week in a D.C. district court, summarizes the DNC Clinton conspiracy and provides detailed evidence from FEC, the Federal Election Commission, filings confirming the complaint's allegations that Democrats undertook an extensive scheme to violate federal campaign limits. Stop. Where's the investigation? Why isn't this top of the fold, talked about, exposed? You know why. It's the LDAM, leftists, Democrats, and the American media maggots. The American media maggots run the press. They're doing the job of the Democrats and the leftists, and they all work in a triumvirate together. The lawsuit filed last week in a D.C. District Court summarizes the DNC Clinton conspiracy and provides detailed evidence. The FEC filings confirming the complaint's allegations that Democrats undertook an extensive scheme to violate federal campaign limits. From bundling to money laundering. This is an important name. Dan Backer, a campaign finance lawyer and attorney of record in the lawsuit, explains the underlying law in an article for Investors Business Daily under federal law. And under federal law, an individual donor can contribute $2,700 to any candidate, $10,000 to any state party committee, and during the 2016 cycle, $33,400 to a national party's main account. These groups can all get together and take a single check from a donor for the sum of those contribution limits. It's legal because the donor cannot exceed the base limit for any one recipient, and state parties can make unlimited transfer to their national parties. That legal loophole allows bundlers to raise large sums of money from wealthy donors, more than $400,000 at a time, filtering the funds to the national committees. Democrats and Republicans alike exploit this tactic, but once the money reaches the national committees, other limits apply. Suspecting the DNC had exceeded those limits, a client of Backer, the Committee to Defend the President, began reviewing FEC filings to determine whether or not excessive coordination between the DNC and Clinton existed. What Backer discovered, as he explained in an interview, was much worse. This is his quote: "There was extensive evidence in the Democrats' own FEC reports, when coupled with their own public statements, that demonstrated massive strawman contributions papered through the state parties to the DNC and then directly to the Clinton campaign in clear violation of federal campaign finance law." But you're not hearing about that, and nobody's being investigated. On behalf of his clients on December 15, 2017, Backer filed an 86-page complaint with the FEC, asking the FEC to commence enforcement proceedings against Hillary Clinton, her campaign, and its treasurer, the DNC and its treasurer, and the participating state Democratic committees. The complaint and an attached exhibit consisting of nearly 20 pages of Excel spreadsheets detailed the misconduct and provided concrete evidence supporting the allegations. In short, this is what happened. It's a shell game with millions of dollars. And I'm going to have to wrap this up. But if you want to read this article, just kind of put this in your little mental tickler file. That the story is from the New York Times. And the heading is FEC records, or just put it in your favorite search engine. Hillary Clinton and FEC records and $84 million. And you're going to get this story. During the 2016 presidential election, Hillary Clinton, the DNC, and participating state Democratic committees established the Hillary Victory Fund, HVF, as a joint fund rating committee to accept contributions from large donors, some exceeding $400,000. But again, the deal of this is FEC records indicate the Hillary Clinton campaign illegally laundered $84 million. Where is this being touted near and far, not just on social media, but on all the immediate media forums? And it's not. And if you want any evidence whatsoever of any and all bias against conservatives by the American media maggots, you have to look no further than that. We're undergoing a soft coup, and no one is helping.
Monsieur has been locked!
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, thanks for listening to the Bloviating Zeppelin's Berserk Bobcat Saloon radio show on the SHR Media Network. You know, if you want to contact me, you can find me on Twitter at bzep and on my blog at bloviatingzeppelin.net. I don't write 3 times a day, but I do write at least once a day on that. As I said, my Email is bc@shrmedia.com. My intro music is by Possessed Tranquility. You can find them at reverbnation.com. Promotional consideration is by the Lockheed Martin Skunk Works and by the Boeing Company. If it ain't Boeing, I ain't going. And also by Pratt & Whitney Engines Thrust. You can trust. Thanks also to my personal KC-135 Kettle One refueling team with whom I shall be consorting in less than an hour. And I want to thank you for listening to Jeff Dunetz in the first hour. Thanks to Jeff for being here. Thanks to you for listening live, listening in chat, engaging in chat, listening in podcast. Tomorrow is Friday. Woohoo! The weekend, the Labor Day weekend. So tell you what, God bless you. God bless this country. All of you. Take care. Be safe.
Everybody quiet down now and get some sleep.
Good night, everybody.
Good night, Mama. Good night, Ben.
Good night, everyone.
Good night, Mama. Good night, Daddy.
Good night, children. Good night, Daddy. Good night, Elizabeth.
Good night, John Boy. Good night, Jim Bob. Good night, Jim Bob.
Good night, Jim Bob.
What's going on? I was asleep. What's everybody doing?
Good night.
Good night, Jim Bob. Go to sleep.
Good night, and good luck.